okay, this will be a walk in the park. Butterfly flutters. That was a big, fat lie. My feet were gigantic. Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a pregnancy recap and kind of going over things that I liked, things that I didn't like. So yeah, let's get into it. So overall, my pregnancy was pretty good up until about 34 weeks when I started getting a lot of swelling and rapid and like very sudden weight gain. And that's something I will go into a little bit more later on in the video. One of the things that made my pregnancy so easy was not having nausea as much. I got sick a total of 3 times my entire pregnancy, and I want to say that is all due to taking vitamin B12 and keeping food on my stomach at all times. Those were the 2 things that really helped keep the morning sickness away. The times that I did get sick, I didn't eat. So I would say 100% I will be doing that again next go around. Looking back, some of my favorite memories from when I was pregnant was, of course, getting to feel baby cake for the first time. At first, it kind of feels like the butterfly flutters. Very subtle. I couldn't really tell if it was that or like the gas bubbles that people talk about. So I was sitting there trying to figure out what it was, and we went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Hey, have you been feeling any movement?" And I was like, maybe, I don't know. And they described what it was supposed to feel like, and that was it. That was baby. And getting to see him kick from the outside for the first time was insane. I remember sitting there on the couch with my husband at night and just recording it nonstop. All I would do is record the videos of my belly just moving. You could just see him like moving around in there, and it was so sweet. I loved it. Some challenges that I faced during pregnancy, and like I said in the beginning, I had a really easy, really good pregnancy for the most part until that last bit. That last bit really did me in. I don't know if you can hear the train, but there's a train going right now. You know, my whole pregnancy, at least, I was told it's supposed to be similar to your mother's. So I started asking my mom, did you get stretch marks? Like, was your labor easy? Did you gain a whole lot of weight? And my mom was like, no, you're not gonna get any stretch marks. You're not gonna gain a whole lot of weight. I think you're probably gonna carry like I did. I was like, okay, this will be a walk in the park. So I wasn't super concerned about putting moisturizer on my belly. I would do it like maybe 2 or 3 times a week if I remembered. So wasn't worried about stretch marks. Wasn't worried about a whole lot of weight gain. Wasn't worried about having a super long labor. Let me tell you, that was a big fat lie, at least in my case. I got the complete opposite of what my mom got. Like, I got the stretch marks, got the weight gain, got the long labor, like got check, all of those boxes for me. But it's also really sweet because you got to see like your body changing with your baby and your body just doing what it needs to do to be able to grow a little human. So the week leading up to labor, I was super nauseous, just feeling very fatigued, not feeling the best. My work ended up sending me home that week because they could tell I was just miserable. Thankfully, I was able to get some good rest that week because I needed some rest to prepare for what was coming. I went into labor, like including early labor, started on Friday. I didn't have the baby boy until that Monday following. So in total, I think my husband said I was in labor for 72 and a half hours roughly. I was exhausted. And Friday night, I wasn't in like a whole lot of pain. I was just kind of uncomfortable. My contractions were super close together, but they weren't painful. So I was following the 5-1-1 rule. Contractions every 5 minutes, lasting for 1 minute for 1 hour. I had the timer going for about 2 hours. They were roughly 5 minutes apart, and then they got to like 3 minutes apart, and then they got 2 minutes apart. So I called my doctor's office. I was like, hey, this is what's going on, but like they're not that painful. They're uncomfortable, but they're not painful. What should I do? And by the time they called me back, because I had to leave a voicemail and have the on-call nurse call me back because this was Friday night. By that time, my contractions started spacing out again. So they went from 2-3 minutes apart to 5 minutes apart to 10 minutes apart to 20 minutes apart. They just kept spacing out further and further. So the doctor's office called me back and said, hey, restart. Basically, just completely restart the 5-1-1 rule. See if it happens again. If it does, go on to the hospital. If not, just write it out. So I did that night. I was able to get some sleep that night, thankfully, but not very much because they got more intense. As they spaced out more, they got more intense. So Saturday, they were pretty rough. I was walking, trying to get this baby out. At 39 weeks, I was push mowing the lawn to try to get this baby out. Like, I was ready. So Saturday, in between contractions, I was walking up and down our road. I would stop for a contraction and then continue walking, trying to get this baby moving down so I would get this labor progressing. Didn't work. So Saturday night, the contractions were still pretty spaced out. That night, I got no sleep. They were happening every like 10 to 20 minutes. Sometimes they would give me like a break of like every 30 minutes, which was nice. But it got to the point to where I couldn't even lay down in bed. I had to get up. I like was bent over in the shower for a while. The couch was my friend during that time. I was laying on the couch, bent over, and then going into Sunday, I asked my husband, can we go eat Waffle House? Let's get out of the house. Let me get moving. I'm starving. Like, I've been going through this all night. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry. Let's just go eat. I wasn't really able to eat much because I was still kind of nauseous from just being in labor. Get back home and I'm on the couch during each contraction. The only way I was comfortable was like bent over, like on my hands and knees, like the cat cow. I would do that for my contractions, and that would help. My contractions started getting closer together. They kept getting more intense. So we called the doctor's office back and they said, go on in, just get checked out, see what they say. So we go to the hospital and they were like, hey, you're at a 2, but your contractions seem super intense. So if you want to stay, you can write it out for an hour, see what your contractions do, and then we can go from there. So needless to say, was in labor all of Sunday, and then he didn't come until Monday evening around 5:30. So I was in labor for a while. Definitely didn't go how I planned it, but it's God's plan, not mine. I am super grateful because I learned a lot. So I guess some symptoms, like I was saying, I had like a lot of swelling, weight gain, things like that. So going to the hospital, they realized that my blood pressure was continuing to stay elevated. So going into labor, being so swollen, and my blood pressure being elevated, and staying elevated, they decided to diagnose me with gestational hypertension. But just in the hospital, because whenever I would go to my doctor's appointments, they would check my blood pressure at the beginning of the appointment, and they're like, oh, this is high, let's wait until the end of the appointment to see if it goes down. Well, by the end of the appointment, it would go down, and they weren't really concerned about it. But guys, when I tell you my feet were gigantic, like I couldn't hardly even wear my shoes. They were so big. And like in the summer heat as well, like I was so swollen. Like my face, my hands, I couldn't wear my wedding rings. I even had a doctor like make a comment about how swollen my feet were. He was like, oh, your poor feet. And I was like, yeah, they've been super swollen. No comment. So, to hear in the hospital that I had gestational hypertension, I wasn't the most happy with that. Of course, in the moment, I didn't really care, but after the fact, I looked on there and I noticed they had officially diagnosed me with it, and I was not very happy because I wish they would have done something about it sooner, especially with, the rapid weight gain and the swelling and everything. It was just, I wish we could have caught it sooner, but from what they said, there wasn't really anything that I could have done to prevent it, unfortunately. Was definitely not prepared for the stretch marks and the weight gain and the swelling and everything like that. So reflecting on like the body changes and things like that, I gained 80 pounds, so that's a lot of weight and that's a lot of body change. But I have lost about 50 of those pounds roughly now. So I've still got a little ways to go in terms of losing weight if I ever wanted to get back down to my pre-pregnancy weight. But right now I'm just focused on continuing to eat well and keep my body nourished so that I can continue to feed my baby and feed him well. One thing that I miss about being pregnant is having him with me at all times. Going back to work soon, I am not going to have him with me all the time, and that's a really, really tough pill to swallow, especially having him with me for the entire 9 months that I carried him, and then these last 12 weeks, it's been, I wish I had my baby to take with me everywhere still, because that was just such a special, sweet, bond that we shared for that short time period that we had it. One thing I will not miss about being pregnant is having to wake up every hour of the night to pee, and same thing during the day, just constantly having to go to the bathroom. That was exhausting. I'd be at work and be sitting at my computer. I'd be, you get into a groove of doing something, you don't want to stop, but I had to go pee. So I had to keep stopping during work. So it's going to be very nice to go back and not have to pee every hour. First time we saw him, the first time we got to hold him, got to see him, was so special for us because we wanted the baby so bad. This was a prayer that we had for a while, and seeing him here in person, like in front of my eyes, like, yes, I knew it was real whenever he was in my belly, but this was so special. It was so sweet. Just seeing his little face, hearing his little cry, it was just so extremely special. It was amazing. Pregnancy can be hard, but it can be beautiful at the same time. Any expecting mom is going through a hard time, just know that when you see your beautiful baby, it's gonna make all of this so worth it. Trust me. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, guys.